Welcome to a world of giants, where massive creatures roam the earth. Sit tight as we go on a journey to explore the fascinating history of the giant ground sloths. The Megatheres, known more commonly as the giant ground sloths, are a much larger and dangerous relative of the popular sloth species found in the rainforest of the Amazon. During the last ice age, the Americas were home to a diverse range of wildlife. But among the most fascinating creatures of this era were the giant ground sloths. These now extinct giant mammals roamed the earth long before the appearance of man, and they made their home in what is today the vast expanse of land which ranges from the southern United States to South America. These massive animals were relatives of the modern-day sloth, but they were much, much larger. Reaching lengths of up to 20 feet and weighing several tons, the giant ground sloths were the largest land mammals of their time. It's hard to imagine any sloth species growing this big, but the ground sloths completely destroyed the condescending stereotypes that today's sloths have to deal with in their own time. Clothed with a shaggy and distinctive coat of fur, which kept them warm in the cold and harsh climates of their habitats, the giant sloths were built for the wild, armed with stout and muscular bodies, which helped them survive for centuries before their eventual extinction. They also had very powerful and functional legs, equipped with sharp claws which served dual purposes, one of which was defense and the other for foraging for meals and other useful materials needed for survival. Just like their smaller relatives, the giant ground sloths were plant feeders. Being herbivores, they mainly fed on leaves, fruits, and other plant materials to survive. Their claws, although deadly sharp, were not for hunting and slashing down prey. They were instead used to pull down branches and gather food, but when the circumstances demanded violence, the ground sloths have been noted to use their powerful claws to defend themselves against predators that lurked about in the wild. These majestic creatures made their homes in a wide variety of habitats, which could include wetlands, forests, and grasslands. They were mainly found in the Americas, and while some species preferred the warmer regions of the tropics, others favored the cold climates, and being equipped with thick furs, they made a good effort to flourish in every region they found themselves in, even though their existence would eventually come to an end. The social structure of the ground sloths has been a subject of controversy for a while, because despite the fact that sloths today are social creatures, all the facts point to the giant ground sloths being likely solitary animals who only would come together to mate. Evidence shows that they were most probably slow-moving and sedentary animals that spent most of their time looking for food and resting, a behavior pattern that parallels the sloths of today. Other studies show that in some cases the giant ground sloths may have even formed small family groups, probably of a mother and her juvenile young banding together to make it easier in the harsh period when forming a close-knit group would be more practicable for survival. So, what led to the demise of these incredible creatures? The answer lies in the changing climate of the Ice Age. The evolutionary journey of this mammal is one that goes back to more than 30 million years ago, as dated by biologists, evolving from smaller arboreal sloths during the period of the Oligocene epoch, which lasted for millions of years. As time slowly progressed, they left the trees and adapted to living on land and became ground creatures while evolving into the large herbivorous mammals they later became. Their extinction came around 10,000 years ago at the very end of the last ice age. Climate change, combined with habitat loss and the hunting by early humans, is said to be among the factors that caused the extinction of these majestic creatures. As the climate warmed, the giant ground sloths' habitats began to shrink. They were unable to adapt quickly enough to the changing environment, and eventually they became extinct. The impact of the loss of these amazing animals is deduced to have had a massive effect on the ecosystem in which they lived and survived, until they were eventually wiped out. Around the mid-19th century, fossils of the giant ground sloths began to emerge through discoveries in North America, particularly in the southern states of the United States of America. These new finds helped biologists and archaeologists understand the vastness of the geographic range of the giant ground sloths, as many believed it occupied a smaller region during the early discovery of this prehistoric creature. The findings immediately sparked a wide interest in the secrets of the fossils of the giant ground sloths, and a lot of scientists began studying more about the creature. The first time an almost complete skeleton of a giant ground sloth would be found was in 1787, found by a Spanish naturalist named Manuel Torres, who discovered the fossil in the Lujan River Valley. Juan Bautista, a scientist and naturalist from the Kingdom of Spain, in 1789, played a key role in documenting details of the large unidentified fossil in the Lujan River Valley in Argentina. This was after the first sighting of the evidence of the prehistoric existence of the giant ground sloths back in the 18th century. At the time, he did not recognize the fossil as belonging to a giant sloth, due to the limitations in the knowledge of the creature at that time, but nevertheless, his newfound discovery opened the door for the beginning of a new era in paleontology. By the early 19th century, a zoologist from France known as Georges Cuvier got a shipment of fossils from the South American continent, and upon inspection, it was discovered that some of the fossils belonged to the remains of a giant ground sloth. Georges Cuvier would be the first scientist and zoologist to accurately describe the fossils in detail, although he only recognized the fact that they belonged to a previously unknown group of mammals. His findings and descriptions provided the foundation for later research on the giant ground sloth, and his work on the subject was published in the year 1804. Initially, scientists were unsure about the relationships between the giant ground sloths and other mammals. Some thought they might be related to elephants or armadillos, while others believed they were part of a distinct group. It wasn't until the mid-19th century, with the discovery of more fossils and the development of new scientific theories, that the giant ground sloths were recognized as members of the sloth family. The discovery of giant ground sloth fossils sparked scientific debates about their evolution, behavior, and ecology. Some scientists argued that the giant ground sloths were slow-moving and sedentary, while others believed they were more agile and adaptable. These debates continue to this day, with scientists using new techniques and technologies to study the giant ground sloths and their place in the ancient world. Due to the lack of actual evidence of the sloth's habitual behavior, it is hard for scientists to come to a consensus on the behavior of this wild creature during the time of its existence. The early discoveries of giant ground sloth fossils paved the way for later research and discoveries. Today, scientists continue to study the giant ground sloths, using advanced techniques like DNA analysis and computer simulations to learn more about these incredible creatures. The legacy of early discoveries like those of Bru, Cuvier, and Torres continues to inspire new generations of scientists and researchers. While fossil records of the giant ground sloths are extensive, with many well-preserved specimens found in North and South America, these fossils have provided scientists with a wealth of information about the evolution, behavior, and ecology of these incredible creatures. In coming years, with the development of greater scientific tools, there is a hopeful sense of curiosity about the ideals that could be gotten from the remains of these creatures. The giant ground sloths may be extinct, but they continue to fascinate and inspire people around the world. Their incredible size, unique adaptations, and important role in shaping the ecosystems in which they lived make them one of the most fascinating groups of extinct animals. The giant ground sloths were incredible creatures that played an important role in the ecosystems of the Americas during the Pleistocene epoch. Their unique adaptations, impressive size, and fascinating behavior make them one of the most interesting groups of extinct animals. Today, we can still marvel at the giant ground sloths in museums and fossil collections around the world. They may be gone, but their legacy lives on as a reminder of the incredible diversity of life on Earth. That's all for today. Do well to hit the like and subscribe button and notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content.